Okay, good morning, one and all, and I welcome all the listeners of this session. So today we are going to discuss about the remaining things under the flow control in Python. So from the last 2 or 3 classes, we are discussing the flow control in Python, and we had studied that the flow control statements are divided into 3 categories in Python, right? So the first category is that branching statements, or we can also call them as conditional statements. And the second category is that iterational statements, or we call them as looping statements. And then we had the third type, those are called as transfer statements, or we can call them as jump statements. So under the conditional statements, we had studied about if else, if else if, and then nested if else, and iterative statements. In the previous session, we have seen how we can use a while loop, right? How we can use a while loop. And in today's session, we are going to look at the for loop in Python, and how we can define a for loop in Python, and how the for loop will gets executed. And after the completion of iterative statements, we are going to see about the transfer statements. Those are the break, continue, and pass. So similar to the previous sessions, in previous session, we had seen how we can declare a while loop in C programming language, a while loop in Java, and a while loop in Python. And similarly, in today's session, we are going to look at how a for loop will be in C, and how a for loop will be in Java, and how a for loop will be in Python. Okay, so before going to see about the syntax of the Python, so let us observe the flowchart of the Python. Right, see here. So this is the flowchart of the Python. So when we are, flowchart of the for loop in Python. When we are dealing with the for loops in the previous languages such as C, C++, and Java. So in for loop, we will have a for keyword followed by, we will take something called as a for I equal to 0. And then we take one condition, so for example, I less than 10. And then we will go for increment or decrement here. So, and under this one, we will have a body of the for loop. So here, the first step inside the for loop that will be executed by the compiler is that initialization. So it is going to initialize a variable with some value. After initialization has been done, next the control is going to check the condition. So if the condition is true, right, if the condition is true, then it is going to execute the body of the for loop, right? In case if the condition is false, it just come out of the loop. So in case if the condition is false, it just come out of the loop, right? So in case the condition is true, it is going to execute the body. So once the body has been executed successfully, then increment or decrement will be done. After incrementing or decrementing, again the condition checking will be done. Again, if the condition is true, it is going to execute the body of the for loop. And in case if the condition is false, it just come out of the loop. So this is basically what is happening for a for loop in C, right? So similar things is going to be happen for the for loop in Python also. But as we discussed in the previous session, so there is something difference in terms of syntax only, right? The syntax in C programming language is a bit different from the syntax in a Python programming language. But the working of the for loop in both the languages is almost all same, right? So here initialization will be done first, and then we are going to check the condition, and after the condition is true, it is going to execute the body of the loop, and after executing the body, it is going to increment or decrement. So see here. So here also in Python, initialization will be carried first, right? Initialization will be carried first. After initialization, we are going to check the condition. In case if the given condition fails, then the control will never enter into the loop. It will just come out of the loop. Out of the loop means out of this body. It never enters into the body when the condition fails. And in case if the condition is true, the control will goes inside the loop body, and it will execute the entire loop. And after executing the entire loop, it is going to update the counter. So update the counter means whether incrementing the value or decrementing the value, right? It depends. So after updating the counter, again it is going to check the condition. So this cycle will repeat until the condition fails. So if the condition fails, immediately it will come just out of the loop. So this is how a for loop will be executed, right? This is how a for loop will be executed in programming languages. So now let us look at some examples on for loop. So for this, I'm going to take one online C compiler in order to do a C program, and then one online Java compiler, and then online Python compiler. See here. So this is where we are very familiar, because we had already completed the C programming language in the previous semester. So inside the main method, just declare a variable, for example, something called as int I. So I want to print the numbers between 1 to 10 by using for loop, right? So for that, I am going to take a for loop for. So as we seen in the flowchart, we need to initialize the value. So from where we want to print the numbers? We want to print the numbers from 1 to 10. So start the value of I with 1. So start the value of I with 1. And after starting the value of I with 1, we want to print the numbers up to 10. So here we have to take the condition. So here the condition is that I less than or equal to 10. So we are moving from I value 1 to I value 10, and then we are going to increment the value. So we want to print the value 1 on the output screen, and then the value 2, and then the value 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So each and every time I want to increment the value by 1. That's why I have taken I++. So inside this for loop, so in order to print something on the output screen in C programming language, we are going to use the printf statement, right? So printf. So here the I value is of integer type. So we have to use %d, comma, the value of I. So here, let us use a \n in order to print each and everything in a new line. So now, if I run the code, you can observe here, it has printed the values 1 to 10. So here, the initialization will be done first. Let us see how this one will be executed by the compiler. So immediately in C programming language, the program execution will start from the main function. Inside the main function, each and every line will start executing. So whenever the compiler sees this int I, immediately it is going to allocate some memory with the name I. initially the value inside the memory will be empty. And after executing the first line, the compiler is going to execute the second line. So if it starts executing the second line, in the second line, we had an initialization, we had a condition, we had an increment. So what will be done first? So initialization will be done first. So there is already a space reserved with the name I. So in that I, one value will be stored. Now this value will be verified with the condition. So we have taken the condition 1 less than or equal to 10. So the condition is true. As we discussed in the flow chart, when the condition is true, it is going to execute the body of the loop. So here inside the body, we just printed the value of I. Initially, the value of I is 1. So 1 is printed on the output screen. So after executing the body of the for loop, again, it is going to increment, right? Again, it is going to increment. So now 1 will become 2. After incrementing, the control is going to check the condition 2 less than or equal to 10. Again, the condition is true. So if the condition is true, again, it is going to execute the body of the for loop. So if the body of the for loop is executed, 2 will be printed on the output screen. So this is the way how a for loop will be in C. For example, if I want to print the numbers from 1 to 10 in reverse order. So that means I want to print the number 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, and so on 1. So for that, here I want to print the numbers from 1 to 10. That's why I have taken the condition I equal to 1, I less than or equal to 10. If I want to print the numbers from 10 to 1, so I need to take here I equal to 10, right? I greater than or equal to 1. So I need to change the initialization and condition, and at the same time, previously I want to print the numbers which are incrementing by 1, but now I want to print the numbers which will be decremented by 1. Initially I want to print 10 and then 9 and then 8. So if you observe, each and every time the value is decremented by 1. So instead of taking increment here, we go for the decrement. So that will print the numbers from 10 to 1. So depending upon our need, we can change the initialization, we can change the condition, we can change the increment or decrement. So that will bring our desired output of the program. So if you write the same program in Java, as we said that in Java, each and everything will be inside a class. And then the main method in Java consists of a set of keywords: public, static, void, main, string, args. And in C, if you want to print something, we go for printf. In Java, if you want to print something, we go for system.out.println. So now inside this one, so similar to the for loop in C, here also we can have a for loop. So directly we can define a variable here. For example, I want to print the numbers from 10 to 1. I can take I equal to 10, right? And then the condition is that I greater than or equal to 1. And then we can go for I plus, I minus minus. I want to print the numbers from 10 to 1. So inside this one, so instead of writing something, if you write I, that will print the number which was inside I. So now if you run the code, you can see here, it has printed the value 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. So it has printed the numbers from 1 to 10, right? So see here, so in C programming language, if you want to print something in a new line, we go for using \n. And in Java, if you want to print something in a new line, you can just go for system.out.println. And if you don't want to print in new line, just remove ln. Ln means new line. If you remove ln from println, so now the output will be printed in the same line. You can see here the output has been printed in the same line. So this is how we can print something in the new line in Java. So now the same, right? The same for loop in Python. See, in C, C++, and Java, if condition, if else condition, or while loop, or do while loop, or for loop, each and everything will be same. each and everything syntax will be almost all 90% similar. But in Python, right? But in Python, the for loop syntax may be a bit different. So let us see that. Let us see. For example, I have a variable a. I have a variable a. So which is having a list of elements. For example, the list of elements are CSE, right? And then AIML, and then DS. So these are the list of elements I have in A. Now, in order to declare a for loop, we have to use the for keyword for A, right? For A in, right? For sorry, let us take one variable for I in, right? For I in A. So we are going to take the variable I in the list A. Now, if I print, for example, if I print something called as if I print I, let us see what the output of this code will be. So if I run the code, you can see here it has printed the value CSE, AIML, and DS. So here for I in the sense, I will be initialized with 0 automatically, and then the value of I will be incremented by 1. So initially the value of I is 0, and then the value of I will become 1, and then the value of I will become 2. So here we are checking the value of I in A. So in A we have 3 indices, right? In A we have only 3 indices, 0, 1, 2. That's why the I value has been iterated from 0, 1, 2. And same, right? Similar to this one. For example, there is a variable B. And in B, I have something called as computer. So here in B, I am going to take a string, right? So B equal to computer, and then I am going to declare a for loop for J, right? For J in B. For J in B, I want to print the value. I want to print J. If I print J, you can see here the individual characters of a string has been printed on the output string. So COMPUTER. So here when I say for J in B, the value of J will start from 0, right? Start from 0 and ends at 7. See here, 0 for C, 1 for O, 2 for M, 3 for P, 4 for U, 5 for P, 6 for E, and 7 for R. So when I say J in B, the Python compiler verifies what is the thing inside B. Inside B, I had a string which consists of 8 characters. And when I say 8 characters, the index will start from 0 to n minus 1. So the index will be from 0 to 7. So the J value will be iterated between 0 and 7, right? So this is how a for loop will behave in Python, right? And I had one thing here. For example, we can combine this for loop with a function called as range, right? With a function called as range. For example, if I have taken a for loop for something called as I in range, for I in range, here the range is that if I have taken the range of something called as 5, for I in range of 5, if I print I, now the values between 0 to 4 will be printed. So the I value each and every time is going to start with 0. When we don't mention, I will explain. So we can update the range with parameters. I will explain it. So basically the I value will start with 0. right? I value will start with 0 and ends at the specified range. So here I have mentioned the range 5. 5 means it will print the values up to n minus 1. That means 5 will not be included in the output. Up to 4 will be included in the output. So here, what happens if we pass two parameters? For example, for I in range of 5 has printed 0 to 4 on the output screen. So if I do for I in range 5 comma 10, if for I in range 5 comma 10, what is going to be happen? So here it has printed the values 5 to 9. So previously when I had written for I in range of 5, so the I value has been started at 0 and ended at 4. When I have taken range of 5 comma 10, here, if we convert this for loop in C programming language, that is that for I equal to 5, I less than 10, I plus plus. So this is equivalent to this particular statement. So for I equal to 5, I less than 10, I plus plus. So the value of I is going to be started from 5 and it is going to be end at less than 10. Less than 10 means it is going to be end at 9. So each and every time we are going to increment the value of I by 1. So the values will be printed as 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9 will be printed on the output screen. So here you can see, right? So when we write for I in, right, when we write for I in range of 5 comma 10, the starting value will be 5 and the ending value will be n minus 1, that is 9. So what happens if we take, right, what happens if we take only one parameter to the range function? So if we take one parameter to the range function, then the equivalent for loop in C programming language is that for I equal to 0, right, I less than 5 and then I plus plus. Now the I value will be initialized with 0. It will be, the maximum value will be less than 5, that is that the maximum value will be 4. Each and every time we are going to increment the value of I by 1. So if we take one parameter, the starting value will be 0 and the ending value will be the parameter what we have taken there. And if you take two parameters, for example, if I have taken 5 comma 15, then the I value will be initialized with 5. Now the condition will be less than 15 and each and every time it is going to be incremented by 1. Okay, so now if I run the code, it will print the numbers from between 5 and 14. Right? Now let us look at what will happen if I give 3 parameters. If I give 3 parameters, so I have given 5 comma 15 comma 2. So now if I have given 3 parameters, the equivalent for loop will be I equal to 5. So the starting parameter, there are 3 parameters. So starting parameter will be initialization. Next parameter will be condition. So I less than 15 and the third parameter is I plus 2. So each and every time the value of I will be incremented by 2. So 5 will be printed on the output screen. Now the value of 5 will be added by 2. That means 7 will be printed on the output screen and then 9, 11, 13 and 15 is not included on the output. Included because we have taken the condition I less than 15. If you want to print the 15 also, you have to take 5 comma 16 comma 2. So that is the major difference of for loop in C and Python. So if I run this code, you can see here it has printed the value of 5 and then it has printed the value of 7. So it has missed the value of 6. Why it has missed the value of 6? In the sense we have passed the third parameter. If you don't pass this third parameter, the numbers between 5 to 14 will be printed on the output screen. But if you pass third parameter, the numbers will be incremented depending upon the value which was passed as a third parameter to the range function. Now, if I have taken 3 here, now let us see. The starting value is 5. It will be added by 3. So 8, and then 11 will be printed on the output. You can see here. And then 11 plus 3, 14 will be printed on the output. So if you take something called as 5 here, and if you run the code, it is going to print only 2 numbers, 5 and 10. So for a for loop in Python, we can use the range function. We can combine the for loop with the range function. If you combine it with the range function can take 1 parameter, range function can take 2 parameters, range function can take 3 parameters. So if 1 parameter has been passed, the initial value will be 0. That parameter will be a condition. So if we pass range of 5 means, so the value will be iterated between 0 to 5. And then there is no third parameter. So the I value will be incremented by 1. That is I plus plus. I value will be 0. I less than will be the given taken value. And for example, if you pass 2 parameters, so the initialization will be the first parameter and the condition will be the second parameter, and each and every time the value will be incremented by 1. And if you pass 3 parameters, the first parameter will be the initialization, the second parameter will be the condition, and the third parameter will be the incremented value. So initialization, condition, increment or decrement. See here, if you pass 1 parameter, the loop is going to start from 0 to the given parameter. Each and every time it is going to be updated by 1. If you pass 2 parameters, Python control will start from parameter number 1 and it will end at parameter number 2, and each and every time it is going to be incremented by 1. And if you pass 3 parameters, right, 3 parameters, so for the first parameter, the initialization will be started at first parameter, condition will be checked up to second parameter, and increment will be done with the third parameter. So here we have passed the third parameter as 5. So we are going to start at 5, and 5 plus 5, 10 will be printed, and 10 plus 5, 15. 15, when we check the condition, I less than 15. 15 will be never less than 15. So up to 5 and 10 has been printed on the output screen. So this is how a for loop and a range function will behave in a Python, right? And with this, I am going to end today's session. And if anybody is having the doubts, you can please raise your hands. Okay. 4, 2, 3, 4.
సార్ ఇఫ్ కండిషన్ ఫర్ కండిషన్ లో ఫస్ట్ ప్రోగ్రామ్ చెప్పారు కదా సార్, అది ఒకసారి చెప్పరా సార్?
ఏ లాంగ్వేజ్ లోది?
పైథాన్ లోనే సార్.
ఫస్ట్ ప్రోగ్రామ్ ఏం చెప్పా? 1 to 10 నెంబర్స్ ని ప్రింట్ చేసేదా?
TSC AML DS అది సార్.
ఓకే చూడమ్మా. సో I had a list. So I think you all are very familiar with these data types. At data types, we had discussed about tuples, list, dictionary, boolean, right? So if you remember those data types, if you want to define a list, we just use the square braces in order to define a list. So here I have taken a list of 3 elements, CSC, comma, AIML, and then DS. So if you observe this one, so whenever the first line has been executed by the Python compiler, it is going to create a memory with the name A, and that memory will be divided into 3 parts, and the index value will be 0, 1, and 2, and the negative index will be from -1, -2, and -3. So inside the first location, CSC will be stored. Inside the second location, AIML will be stored, and inside the third location, DS will be stored. So this is what naturally happens when that particular first line was executed by the Python compiler. So this is what we have studied during the discussion of data types in Python. So see here. So if I had written a for loop here, for I am declaring a variable I. So what I am doing, so that I value will be in between this one, A. for I in A. So what are the different values? What are the different indices that are in A? So there are 3 values in A, that is 0, 1, and 2. So now our I value will start at 0 and it will end at 2. So our I value will start at 0 and end at 2. Each and every time the value of I will be incremented by 1. So initially the I value will be 0, and after the first iteration I value will become 1, and after the second iteration I value will become 2. So here if I write print I, so if I write print I, so the starting I value is 0. So the things which are at A of 0 will be printed on the output screen. So CSC will be printed on the output screen. So after printing CSC, I value will be incremented by 1. So the things which are at A of 1 will be printed. So A of 1 is having AIML. So AIML will be printed. And then when I value is incremented by 1, now it will print the value at A of 2. So at A of 2, we have DS. So DS will be printed on the output. So what is the meaning of the second line is that when we write for I in A, so A is a list. It consists of 3 items. So the list index will start with 0 and ends at n-1, that is 3 minus 1, 2. So here our I value is going to be in between 0 and 2. Each and every time it is going to be incremented by 1. Right. So if you run the code, it is going to print the 3 elements of the list. For example, if this list is having some more elements, let us say the list is having ECE. Now our I value will be in between 0 to 3, because when we have taken 4 elements, one more space will be created and the index value of that space will be 3, and inside this one we had stored ECE. So when we say for I in A, so our I value will be in between 0 to 3, because A is a list which consists of 4 elements. The index of those 4 elements will be 0 to 3. So if you run this code, right, it will print the 4 elements of that particular list individually. Right. Okay. Okay, na clear? And then 4420. 4420.
సార్ అది పైథాన్ లో డిక్రిమెంట్ ఒకసారి చెప్పండి సార్. పైథాన్
ఓకే నేను నెక్స్ట్ క్లాస్ లో చెప్తానమ్మా, డిస్కస్ చేద్దాం డిక్రిమెంట్.
ఓకే
ఆ బ్రేక్ కంటిన్యూ అవ్వండి నెక్స్ట్.
సార్ ఇంకోటి వచ్చేసరికి ఇందాక మనం 3 ఇవి తీసుకున్నాం కదా సార్, ఇంక్రిమెంట్ చేసేటప్పుడు 5,15,5 పెడితే
ఫంక్షన్
దానికి 1 అని కూడా పెట్టచ్చు కదా సార్. 1 పెట్టకుండా ఆటోమేటిక్
1 పెట్టకపోయినా నీకు చేంజ్ ఏమి ఉండదు. నువ్వు 1 అయినా పెట్టచ్చు, ప్రాబ్లం లేదు. నువ్వు 1 పెడితే ఏమైందంటే ఈచ్ అండ్ ఎవ్రీ టైం ఒక వాల్యూ ఇంక్రిమెంట్ అవుతుంది. సో నువ్వు ఆ 1 ఆ థర్డ్ పారామీటర్ పాస్ చేయకపోయినా ఆటోమేటిక్ గా పైథాన్ ఫర్ లూప్ అనేది 1 ఇంక్రిమెంట్ అవుతూ ఉంటుంది. 1 పెట్టినా పెట్టకపోయినా నీకు ఫర్ లూప్ బిహేవియర్ లో చేంజ్ అయితే ఏమి ఉండదు. Okay, so right, so in the next class I'm going to explain about some more let us see a couple of programs on this for loop. So now in today's session we have seen about the syntax of for loop and how the for loop will be declared in C, and how the for loop will be declared in Java, and then how the for loop will be in Python. So in Python the for loop is a bit different. Right, when compared to C and Java or C++, a Python for loop is a bit different. So when we combine the for loop with a range function, we can pass 1, 2, or 3 parameters. Depending upon the passage of parameters, the behavior of the for loop is going to be changed. So in the next class, I am going to explain 2 or 3 programs on the for loop, and at the same time, in today's session, we have seen how to increment. And the next class, we are going to see about the decrement of the for loop, right? Decrement of the for loop, that is in the C program, we had printed the numbers from 1 to 10, and after that we had printed the numbers from 10 to 1. So we had started at the maximum value, and we had printed the minimum value by decrementing each and every time by 1. So we are going to see the similar program in tomorrow's session in Python also. And after that, we are going to look at the break, continue, and pass functions in Python, right? So I hope everyone understood today's session. And I really thank each and every listener for being here. So all of the students, please be here. And within 2 or 3 minutes, M2 class is going to be started. Okay.